Yes, my Straight Talk family. Whenever you hear that theme song, then you know it's time for me to say a very pleasant night to St. Kitts and Nevis, and a very pleasant night to the entire Caribbean region. It's time for me to say greetings, in fact, to the world, because we are on the World Wide Web, and we reach you and communicate with you all across the globe. So I'm at liberty to say good morning, I'm at liberty to say good afternoon, and I'm also at liberty to say good evening or good night. Did I say good night? Yes, I did say good night, good afternoon, good morning, because one of such greetings will be applicable to you in one of those regions in which you find yourself. Some of you are in Africa, there are some of you in Asia, there are some of you in Europe, and there are a whole lot of you all over North America. So I'm at liberty to say or to extend one of such greetings, as I just mentioned, my beloved family. And for the first timers, if you are a first timer, I welcome you. And I hope and trust that it would not be your last time. And I want to thank those who share the link to bring these first timers. And like I'll say to all, if you love what you hear, go tell it to the whole wide world. If you don't, then come tell it to me, my Straight Talk family. Come tell it to me. And for the first timers in particular, Straight Talk is a public service program that facilitates and promotes free, underline free expression of all issues of interest, national, international, regional interests, be it legal, environmental, technological, social, economic, and or political issues. On Straight Talk, we do have a forum to express ourselves freely. And my Straight Talk, in the process, let's try to raise the level of consciousness. Let's try to raise the level of discourse. And let's ensure we alert our people to their rights, to their responsibilities, and certainly to their obligations. My name is Ian Patches Liebert, and I give Almighty God thanks for blessing me with yet another opportunity to join you in conversation on yet another occasion. And as your host, I always pledge to remain an untiring advocate of truthfulness. Yes, on Straight Talk, we do not water down. Absolutely nothing is watered down here on this program. We never try to make it more interesting, neither by omission or by exaggeration. Because Straight Talk is not about sensationalism. We are not about creating excitement, especially at the expense of accuracy. Because we lean on the facts, since it's my duty, my bounden duty, to present what I always call the unvarnished truth, the plain truth, especially when it comes to governance, integrity, morality. And, you know, not only in St. Kitts and Nevis, but wherever we are, because we are joined together with people across our federation, and we are joined with people in the diaspora all around the world. Some we know very well, and we have met. Some we will never meet. Some will agree with the positions of truth we advance on Straight Talk, and some will disagree. And that's fine. my Straight Talk family. But please, do not sadden me by becoming disagreeable. Let's therefore thank Almighty God nonetheless for helping us to understand, oh, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. Let us therefore hope and pray for the day when we will all sing his praise together. So welcome again, my people, and thanks once more for those who share the link. As you bring first-timers, please continue to do so. I must always remind you that Straight Talk is a participative program. By that I mean we include your calls and your emails. And if you're so minded calling, the numbers are on your screen. There's some who like what I call the cloak of anonymity. So we give you access via our email platform. That email address is also on your screens. There's some who have the Alexa app. We also heard live on Alexa. Just say, Alexa, play Massive Vibes Radio. We get that access at a modest cost. And some of you, as I say, costs, have made donations to support our efforts here on Straight Talk. For that I say a big thank you. May I reassure you as well that no matter your contribution, don't stop, because it helps us to continue this important service. It's a public service. Others who may wish to donate can simply scan the code on your screen to access the payment form. Very simple process. So thank you again for your support and for helping us to keep the dialogue alive. And I must say thank you and a special welcome to my Straight Talk Junior Brigade. I have a little cough here, man, you have to excuse me. Young Dwayne, Tristan, Shamar, Kevin, Rue, Jamal, Travis, Travon, his name are my grandson and his good friend Soraya, and that special lady from St. Louis, from St. Louis now, the next couple of days. And we do have our observations in review, my Straight Talk family. The period when we highlight some current issues, we do some reflection, sometimes give them some homework. I just remember having completed my assignment I got for homework some weeks ago. I'll have to apologize to that, for that, my Straight Talk family. But after our observation and review, we will begin our thesis, and we normally have a thesis each program. And tonight's thesis I've titled, Why Can't Labor Do Things the Right Way? That's the question we'll ask tonight. And I need to get your reaction to that. So don't you change the platform, don't change the link, just spread the word that Straight Talk is live on social media, YouTube, Facebook, and Alexa. And our first observation, it is said that talk is cheap. I'll have just one observation, a matter of fact. My only observation, I wanted to say that I wanted to remind us that it is said that talk is cheap and whiskey costs money. And by now, the so-called engineer, Congress, Maynard, fully well knows that by now. And remember, he said this in 2022, my Straight Talk family.
He had to run in the shower before the water lock off. Why in 2022, in St. Kitts and Nevis, water still locking off? That shows a lack of vision, a lack of leadership when it comes to the public infrastructure in this country. And as the engineer in this team, I will see an end to that. that you can have dependable energy and water and utilities to your homes, so that you don't have to be running home to catch a bath or waking up a particular time in the morning to catch a fresh. We are past that, and we give our commitment to you to provide those services.
I wanted to provide you, my Street Dog family, with that notice, because the water truck will be, should have been in St. Peter's yesterday at 5 p.m. And I don't know if my water will be running after Street Dog, but yesterday the notice went out to residents in St. Peter's, and the rationing still goes on right around St. Kitts and Nevis. So, the SOCA engineer has failed us. His incompetence as a minister with responsibility for public infrastructure, including utilities, has been pronounced for the last 2.5 going on to 3 years. And that's my observation tonight, my Straight Dog family. And I'll move right into my thesis, because I want to give us some time to have a discussion on my thesis for tonight, which I titled, as I mentioned earlier, "Why Can't Labour Do Things the Right Way?" And my Straight Dog family, the whole of St. Kitts and Nevis was taken by surprise when Terence Michael Drew, our worst prime minister ever, in a social media post congratulated the slow student Jeffrey Hanley, who himself has given a new meaning and perspective to his current post as Deputy Prime Minister. And Terence Michael Drew posted this: "Kudos to Honorable Jeffrey Hanley and Labour. The Bastia High School started today." And many thought it was just another stunt by the Prime Minister, and anticipated that the site of the old Bastia High School was instead being cleared to accommodate parking for patrons hoping to attend the 2025 Music Festival, which is going on next door. Well, any such thoughts were all in vain, as the soaker, or the slow student, I should say, Jeffrey Hanley, confirmed the following day in a news item published by the SKN Education Media Unit, EMU, and carried live on ZIZ television. And it was Shaira Flanders who gave us this report, my Straight Dog family.
Minister of Education, the Honorable Dr. Jeffrey Hanley, visited the construction site of the new Bastia High School on Friday, June 13th, where large-scale excavation work is now on the way. He was accompanied by project manager Vivek Khan of Imagine Development and key technical personnel who provided updates on the scope, scale, and status of the project. Dr. Hanley explained that the new state-of-the-art school will feature an expansive outdoor sports complex with provisions for basketball, netball, and football, in addition to the 400-meter track. The facility will also include enhanced academic features, such as a driving simulation lab, more than double the classrooms initially proposed by the previous administration, and a modern auditorium that seats 1,200 people.
And my Straight Dog family, why can't Labour do things the right way? Is a pertinent question that has derived from that report. And we all ask tonight, everything the Jew Labor Administration undertakes since it's been in office either starts wrong and or ends with a flagrant lie, and that is not the way we were brought up, and it is certainly not the way to bring up our children. We are all familiar with the 10 Commandments and the phrase, "Thou shalt not lie." Though not a direct commandment found in the 10 Commandments, but it is a principle derived from those commandments. Specifically, the 9th commandment, "You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor," which discourages or forbids lying. And this concept is reinforced in other biblical verses. For example, in Leviticus chapter 19, verse 11, it clearly states, and I like the King James Version, "Ye shall not steal, neither deal falsely, neither lie to one another." And that is why so many people in St. Kitts Nevis today do not stand in disappointment, but in recognition. Recognition that they were sold a product with shiny packaging, empty promises, and slick talk. They were told what they wanted to hear, not what they needed to know. They trusted a leader named Terence Michael Drew, who acted like a snake oil salesman, peddling dreams with no foundation, speaking in slogans instead of solutions. Drew said and did everything to get elected, painting a vision of change, hope, and action. But now, as the dust settles, the people are left with little more than broken promises and excuses. Leadership is not a performance. It is not about winning applause. Leadership is not about doing the hard work. It is about doing the hard work, beg your pardon, even when it's inconvenient. It's about delivering, not just campaigning. Yes, leadership is about doing the hard work, even when it's inconvenient. It's about delivering, as I said, not just campaigning. And when a leader fails to do that, it is not just a disappointment, it is a betrayal, my Straight Talk family. So today we say, we deserve better. We demand better. And we will not be fooled again by words without weight and ambition without integrity. This snake oil salesman, Terence Michael July, said and did everything and anything to get elected. He made several promises and was eventually elected on the 5th of August 2022. Not just because of the promises, but more so because of the infighting within a very successful team unity administration. After 3 years in office, it must be reasonable to conclude, therefore, that Terence Michael July and his self-proclaimed team of experts do not understand the power of government. Government power is something that affects every single one of us. It is a force that can build nations, protect freedoms, and improve lives. But like any great power, it must be used with wisdom, responsibility, and a deep respect for the people it serves. Government power should never be about control for its own sake. It should be about service. The purpose of government is to represent the will of the people, to protect their rights, and to ensure justice and opportunity for all, and not just a few. This power must be used transparently, guided by laws and values, not by ego or ambition. It should build schools, not walls between people. It should invest in healthcare, education, and jobs, and not in fear or division. And it must always be accountable, because unchecked power becomes dangerous. The true strength of government lies not in its ability to command, but in its willingness to listen, to adapt, and to lead with integrity. So let us remember, government power is not the property of a few. It is borrowed from the people, and it must always return to the people in the form of progress, protection, and peace. Or is it the Marxist, communist orientation that our Prime Minister received while studying in Cuba? But there is a truth I must share with Terence Michael July and his team of experts. With power comes responsibility. You were not elected to wield titles. You were chosen to carry burdens, the burdens of the people you represent. Power in politics is not ownership. It is stewardship. It does not belong to you. It belongs to the people. And they have entrusted you not because you are perfect, but because they believe you will act with integrity, humility, and purpose. Responsibility means telling the truth, even when it's unpopular. It means serving the public interest and not personal ambition. It means remembering that leadership is not about being followed, it's about being accountable. People cannot afford to buy groceries. And Drew promised that under Labour, the dollar will go further. He promised this, my straight dog family.
We're going to make sure that your dollar can go further, that your dollar can buy more. And so we're going to temper the cost, and we're going to subsidize what we have to subsidize in the first 6 months. If no recovery in the economy, then we'll extend it. But you should not be able to go to the supermarket with $100 and can't come out with a good shopping. That will not happen here in St. Kitts and Nevis under Labour. We will control the cost of goods and fuel here in St. Kitts.
And that was what I referred to as a snake oil salesman. Because he lied and has even confessed that under Jew Labour, right now, a child can carry what $100 can buy. He confessed that, my straight talk family, albeit overseas.
People are now making memes that I used to go to the supermarket with $100 and I couldn't fit on a bus or put it in my car trunk. Now when I go with $100, the child can carry how much things I can buy.
Yes, my straight dog family. And under July, things are hard for the poor man. I went into a supermarket just yesterday and remember the poor man's food, mackerel. You remember Granny's mackerel and dumpling and mackerel and breadfruit? Mackerel used to be poor people food. But look at that. 1 pound of mackerel in Ram supermarket cost $21.50 per pound. Imagine that. Poor people can't eat mackerel no more. Saltfish was under Joe. People cannot afford, my straight dog family, shelter under Labour, as they are not bankable, according to the disgraced Attorney General.
People are now making memes that I used to go to the supermarket with $100.
No, my straight dog family, I got that wrong. They're not bankable according to the disgraced Attorney General.
It is not government buying the houses or NHC buying the houses. It's individuals buying the houses. This is the solution for persons who are bankable and can take a mortgage loan from a credit union or a bank, and they can purchase their one-bedroom house for $111,000, a two-bedroom for $213, and a three-bedroom for $497.
And my Sweet Dog family, remember the promise of 2,400 houses, 2,400 houses. That promise of the 2,400 houses have gone in the wind. My Sweet Dog family, gone in the wind.
Good day, citizens and residents. I am taking the opportunity to address the nation on the government of St. Kitts and Nevis' progress in providing affordable home owners solutions. As a government, we believe that it is critically important for our citizens and residents to become home owners, and as such, has made it a top priority to create affordable housing solutions that will meet the ever-growing housing demand. Today, as the Minister responsible for Housing and Human Settlement, I am pleased to formally announce that the Government of St. Kitts and Nevis and National Housing Corporation NHC has signed a contract with East Coast Housing Development, a Trinidadian-based developer, to finance and deliver 2,400 affordable smart homes over a period of 4 years, 600 of which will be made available each year. ECCAA's $600 million has been sourced by this developer to fund the project, and the government of St. Kitts and Nevis, through NHC, will facilitate the development and be the point of access for the citizens who are interested in procuring a smart home.
My Sweet Dog family, it is reliably rumored that the wind has blown millions of dollars into the bank account of the Trinidadian cowboy contractor. Right into the bank account of the Trinidadian cowboy contractor. Of the 2,400 houses, to date only 2 have been built. The slow student Jeffrey Hanley, who is the minister responsible for housing, passed the buck to the disgraced Attorney General Garth Lucifer Wilkin, whose wife, by the way, is also from Trinidad. And we've heard lots of things. But the country is still awaiting an update on the millions missing from that East Coast Housing Development Project. We are awaiting an update from the slow student Jeffrey and from Garth Lucifer Wilkin. Over a month ago, or 2 months ago, Jeffrey, the slow student, told us this.
Some homes, unfortunately, the 600 homes that we were anticipating, with all of the challenges that we might have been experiencing, not us so much as a government, but the investor, that has caused some delays. These matters are being worked on, and what I said to the Federation is that based on the contractual arrangement that we would have signed, the AG office, of course, is working on ensuring that the government's interest, which it is protected. But because of the delay, we have not lost any money as a government.
My Sweet Dog family, over $27 million have been blown in the wind. That contractor got 10 million US dollars for mobilization. So the government must have lost something, because the government guaranteed the millions on that project. But why can't Labour do things the right way? Is the question we will ask again tonight. Our infrastructure is crumbling. And that is something we met in 2015. And I addressed it, had the privilege to do as a minister with responsibility for infrastructure. The Island Main Road, the Old Road Bay, the two bus terminals, the ferry terminal, the Wellington Road condominium apartments, and the Robert Llewellyn Bradshaw International Airport. Yes, my Straight Dog family, the International Airport. You've heard right. You've heard right, my Straight Dog family. We address the International Airport. But I heard July speaking about the airport, and he told this lie.
A country with an airport without jet bridges, our port falling apart, airport falling apart. Then the airport was recently leaking. And can you imagine those who had 7.5 years to fix the airport did nothing and talking about the airport leaking? Well, it must leak and do nothing. And we are now seeking to get the airport done. Because we are fixing it, but sometimes it reaches a point where you just need to put a different type of structure in place.
Air bridges don't make an airport. I went to De Gaulle sometime late last year, and we were bused to Air France and boarded by steps or stairs. And that flight that went to St. Martin from Paris. But let it be known, my Straight Dog family, that the Team Unity administration in fact spent over $40 million on the Robert Llewellyn Bradshaw Airport upon taking office, because we inherited a crumbling infrastructure. And we don't talk a lot of things. I don't myself. And that's a letter I posted on your screens from the Eastern Caribbean Civil Aviation Authority, dated the 12th of June 2017, addressed to Ms. K. Bass, the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Aviation. Dear Ms. Bass, it reads, reference is made to a meeting between representatives of the Ministry of Civil Aviation in St. Kitts and Nevis and the Eastern Caribbean Civil Aviation Authority, ECCAA. The ECCAA was represented by the Director General, Mr. Donald MacPhail. The ministry responsible for civil aviation was represented by the following persons: Royston Griffin, Athneil Jordan, Jessica Buddy, and Mr. Brian Dyer. During the meeting, the ECCAA referred to an inspection of the Robert Llewellyn Bradshaw International Airport carried out on the 5th of May 2017 and presented an overview on the findings of the said inspection. Following the briefing on the findings, the representatives of St. Kitts and Nevis agreed that based on the findings of the Robert Llewellyn Bradshaw International Airport was in a state of disrepair. Underline that. To the extent that it posed a serious safety threat to aircraft operating into and out of the airport. That is what we inherited, my Straight Dog family. An airport, according to the ECCAA, in a state of disrepair. The ECCAA further pointed out that the level of safety at the airport was worse during night operations due to the lack of proper visual aids, lighting and signage. In response, The representatives from St. Kitts and Nevis seemed to agree and made recommendations, including a strong letter from the ECCAA to the minister responsible for civil aviation of St. Kitts and Nevis, so that the deficiencies at the Robert Llewellyn Bradshaw International Airport can be corrected without delay. As if they just started. All those Labour people came over under Team Unity. Strong letter to the minister. The following is a list of findings which are critical and adversely affects the level of safety at the Robert Llewellyn Bradshaw International Airport on the maneuvering and movement areas of the RLBIA. The current level of safety is very low, and the chances of occurrence of aircraft accidents are unacceptably high. The ECCAA thus advises that remedial actions must be taken in the following areas as a matter of extreme urgency. And the areas there are listed, my Straight Dog family. That's what Team Unity inherited from a Labour government that was in office for nigh 20 years, my Straight Dog family. So what on earth is Terence Michael July saying? Look at the deficiencies that were cited. They are there on your monitors, my Straight Dog family. They are for all to read. They are for all to absorb, my Straight Dog family. Every one of us can absorb that. Read it for yourselves. Or do you wish for me to read it for you, my Straight Dog family? I'll do. I'll do just in a moment. It says on that other page on your screen, let's read it together. Conclusion. The risk of runway excursion by aircraft is unacceptably high due to the condition of the runway surface. The poor signage and markings do not provide adequate guidance to pilots. The situation further contributes to the risk of runway incursion. In addition to the above, the strip, due to its limited size, does not offer adequate protection to an aircraft in the event of runway excursion. The foregoing factors have increased the risk of occurrence of accidents at the RLBIA to an unacceptable level. As of today, the ECCAA was not notified of any remedial action has been taken. In the circumstances, it continues, my Straight Dog family, the ECCAA hereby advises the immediate suspension, hear this? Immediate suspension of night operations of the RLBIA pending restoration of the safety at the airport to an unacceptable level. But do you know who was the Minister of Civil Aviation? The snake Mark Brantley. He was trying to embarrass his own government and agreed to this. But could not happen. I was in charge of SCASPO. In the regard, the following must be achieved as a matter of urgency. Repair the runway surface, we did. Repair all signage and markings, we did. Repair signs as repaired, we did. Rehabilitate faulty signs and ensure all signs are in place, we did. The resumption of night operation in addition to the above. Replace all missing runway edge lights, approach lights, taxiway lights, runway and end lights, apron, edge lights, and obstruction lights. Replace, restore, install, my Straight Dog family. What we did, having inherited an airport in disrepair, a crumbling infrastructure, what we did, we resurfaced, beg your pardon, the entire runway at the Robert Llewellyn Bradshaw Airport. That's what we did. We installed brand new solar lighting. We did. I did, as the minister with responsibility for SCASPO. We installed brand new solar lighting and did phase one of the apron parking. We rehabilitated the 3 taxiways, Alpha, Bravo, and Charlie. And my people, all this was done before COVID-19 paralyzed St. Kitts and Nevis and the entire world. So do not be fooled that we did nothing. But as I said before, it is the Marxist communist orientation of our Prime Minister, Jew, and his cabinet, I am convinced, and a team of what I call before modern Dr. Goebbels. They like Goebbels, who believe that if you tell a lie once, it remains a lie. But if you tell a lie 1,000 times, it becomes the truth. Terence Michael July is an abomination, a perpetual violator of moral and or ethical principles, which suggests that something is deeply wrong or evil is inside of him. He is 100% Marxist communist who suppresses information, peddles propaganda to maintain power and control. On Tuesday, would you believe my straight dog family? He slipped away. He slipped away by private jet, unknown to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, and returned, my straight dog family, he returned to Nigeria. Yes, my straight dog family, he slipped away and returned to Nigeria.
As I took the flight from home to travel here, I looked out the window. The skies were beautiful. The Atlantic seemed clear. I reflected on my ancestors who came across in ships, but I also reflected on the fact that there were hardly any other aircraft in sight. There and then I said to myself, there's much work that has started, much work to do, so that one day the air traffic from Africa to the Caribbean would be as busy as other regions in the world, as the flying time is pretty much the same. Let me, of course, recognize all of the excellencies who are here, esteemed colleagues, honored guests, but I especially want to recognize my brother, President, Chairman, President Orama. Put your hands together for him. He had gotten me here today to fly 8 hours just to spend 36 hours. So it tells you the deep respect that I have for this gentleman.
8 hours, spent 36 hours. And Terence Michael July plans to bridge Africa and the Caribbean. But he cannot bridge St. Kitts and Nevis, my straight dog family.
Earlier this year, I led a high-level delegation from St. Kitts and Nevis to this great city, Abuja. And just this month, we were honored to receive an African delegation in St. Kitts and Nevis. That visit represented a physical crossing of a once tormented corridor, the Atlantic Ocean, that for centuries symbolized our forced separation. But this time, the journey was not one of sorrow, but one of solidarity. The visit breathed new life into our shared commitment to build a new bridge that I call the Atlantic Bridge, one made not of wood and steel, but of people, of partnership, and of purpose.
My straight dog family, it is said that charity begins at home, and you may do things right for once if you just bridge our 2 lovely islands of St. Kitts and Nevis. Unknown to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, Terence Michael Jew, I told you before, appointed Gerdie Devbat as the High Commissioner for St. Kitts and Nevis to India. And that is sad. How, my sweet dog family, how can Terence Michael July justify giving Dev Bart such an appointment when he is before the United Kingdom court for a serious charge, my sweet dog family? A serious charge of kidnapping, my sweet dog family. Yes, kidnapping. That's what is charged before a UK court. How can the Governor General, Dame Marcella, sign his instrument of appointment? Was she unaware of these issues? How could she have signed his instrument of appointment? But my straight talk family, it is the Bastia High School issue I must return to. That is a troubling issue at this time. A very troubling issue, my straight dog family. That Bastia High School issue, I told you. It is a very, very troubling issue. Very, very troubling issue, I must say. I repeat, my straight dog family. A very troubling issue.
For the past 2 years, extensive work would have been going on involving our local architects and other engineers and experts, and it is even more heartwarming to know that the contractor is a Kittishon. And this, of course, will generate quite a lot of revenue and also boost the economy, as many persons will be employed here at the Bastia High School, which is expected to be an 18-month initiative.
My straight talk family, local contractor, no name contractor. The contractor has no name. My people, this is a major national infrastructure development project. How could decisions be made without proper consultation, my straight talk family?
It's a pleasure to be here today in St. Kitts and to be able to start this amazing project for the country and for the people. We know how incredibly important this is to everybody, and we're deeply grateful to be here. Right now, if you look around, you'll see that we are starting with our excavation works, stripping all the topsoil and getting rid of all the old vegetation and fill, and preparing to excavate another 3 feet down for our foundation and structure work. So we look forward to making the progress and really delivering an exceptional product.
Why can't Labour do things the right way? The question we ask. The citizens deserve a say. Parents, students, and teachers ought to be consulted. Under the Team Unity administration, there was always consultation. And the Bastia High School, new Bastia High School, was no exception, my straight dog family. None.
And then the last slide here is a is the reason why we are here tonight. The 3D rendition is outside here. You can have a chance to look at it. But essentially, this is why we're here tonight, to discuss the matters concerning the new Basti High School. So against that background, I am happy to welcome you and to look forward to your participation and your interaction with the process this evening. Thank you.
Yes, there was consultation. The Director of Planning and Secretary of the Development Control and Planning Board spoke to the Basti High School approval process. My straight dog family, the late Randolph Edmead.
Now, I'm the Director of Physical Planning, and in that role, I'm also the Secretary to the Development Control and Planning Board. Okay. Now, my role here tonight is to outline the involvement of the Development Control and Planning Board in the approval, in the review and approval process in relation to the Basti High School, including drawings and EIA and all of those things. Now, let me start by saying that all development activities are done in accordance with the provisions of the Development Control and Planning Act of 2000. That is the act which guides development activity, whatever form they may take in St. Kitts. So it is from that perspective that the board's involvement in this whole process was done. And the board's involvement officially started with the submission of the design proposal and the main features of the new Basti High School, and the preliminary drawings, layout, and those were submitted to the Development Control and Planning Board for the first stage of the approval process. That is what we call outline approval or approval in principle. That is governed by Section 20, subsection 1 of the Development Control and Planning Act.
My Chizok family, Edmead, also spoke about the requirement for an environmental impact assessment.
Having reviewed the proposal submitted, the board then proceeded to grant the approval in principle for the construction of the new Basti High School, and that approval is granted or was granted in relation to Section 20 also. Now, in granting that approval in principle, that the conditions for proceeding with the Basti High School, the new Basti High School, they were set. And one of the key requirements from this approval, flowing from this approval, is the requirement, or was the requirement, for an environmental impact assessment, which is governed by Section 26, subsection 2 and 3 of the Development Control and Planning Act. The Act also makes provision for guiding the process of the EIA through setting what we call the terms of reference, that is, the parameters that would guide how that EIA is supposed to be done, and the main aspects that would be focused on in relation to that EIA.
And yes, my Shredog family, the response of the people was positive in most parts. Commendation flowed from the floor.
Mr. Chairman, my name is Willa Liebert. Mr. Chairman, thank you for this opportunity to speak. And I want to first commend the panelists. I feel actually very proud that that we have such excellent expertise at the local level. So I want to commend you and thank you very much. I must also say that I am sure that the children and the young people who will benefit from this, this school would be very happy and excited because of all the different things I see here.
My Street Talk family, there was also strong advocacy for local contractors.
Order.
When I recognize the quality and qualifications of our local people, I am still wondering and baffled. Why is it that some of our local engineers, why some of our architects are still playing second fiddle? Why? It is bothering to me. So much people can boast of their track record. We as skitishans, we want to boast of our track record too.
And yes, we should boast of our track record too. I agree with you, Lennox. But who would believe, though, that the incumbent cabinet secretary would turn a blind eye to this issue of consultation? Willful blindness, it is called, because the same Marcus Natter griped about the time allotted for discussion and complained that one session of consultation was inadequate. Yes, this is Dr. Marcus Natter.
Unfortunately, tonight has been quite long for our town hall. So I'm also hoping, and Minister of Education is here and happy to see him, that we have a second round of this, because clearly we will not cover everything this evening. We started 45 minutes late, and then we had 2 hours of presentations from the panelists, and I think that is grossly unfair to persons who have pertinent questions. But I would love to have another session.
Wants another session, my Street Talk family. But Natter, Dr. Marcus Natter, is now the cabinet secretary. And it is okay to indulge in criminal activity through the government's failure to tender, failure to make available the design plans for the school, failure to provide cost estimates for the school. Terence Michael July and his team of experts in cabinet are corrupt to the bones. Terence Michael Drew lied to the country and said that the Bastille High School is a non-CBI dependent project. My Street Dog family.
CBI has been very, very fruitful for us here in St. Kitts and Nevis. The CBI has helped transform us. It has given us resources that helped to really advance our country of St. Kitts and Nevis. I think where we could have done better is that CBI income, we should have used it to diversify the economy. And what we have done? We have sought to get major investments that are non-CBI dependent, such as the building of the Bastille High School, non-CBI dependent.
What a lie. This statement, my Street Dog family, is so false. As the Bastille High School is listed as a public benefit option, a PBO, on the CIU website, my Street Dog family. It's listed. It's listed there for all to see. Just go to the website. So why is Terence July lying? I believe he's lying because it is reliably rumored that 1,200 shares, yes, 1,200 100 shares have been approved under the CBI PBO option for the Bastia High School construction, which is estimated at a construction cost of $100 million EC. So whose bank account will be credited with the US $260 million or EC $702 million? My Straight Talk family, the bunch of criminals in the cabinet. On my last episode, someone submitted what they labeled a constructive proposal and proposed the following. 1. An immediate national survey to gather public opinion on whether the current site is suitable or if an alternative location should be pursued. 2. A temporary hold on construction until the results of the survey and further environmental testing can be reviewed transparently. 3. A public meeting or forum for experts, educators, and families to speak directly to the nation. And 4. Repurposing the current site being occupied by the slow student Jeffrey Hanley and his ministry. It must be repurposed as a smart, paid public parking space to ease downtown congestion and generate revenue. And I totally agree with the individual who made that submission to Straight Talk. Because this is not just about buildings. It is about trust. It's about engaging the people in the future of our country. And my Straight Talk family, I close by saying, history will not remember how loudly you spoke or how fiercely you campaigned. History will remember what you did when the spotlight dimmed, when tough choices had to be made, when doing things the right way meant risking the next election. So let us rise to the moment. Let us lead not with ego, but with honor. Because in the end, the measure of our time in office will not be how long we held power, but how responsibly we used it. For now, my people, and until and or unless there is change, I will continue to ask, why can't Labour do things the right way? That's my story tonight, my Straight Talk family, and I'm not going to change it. I'll open the lines and entertain your calls and your emails. And when I do so, and I'll do so momentarily, I anticipate that you will respect others. And of course, to achieve that, you must first respect yourselves. Let us try to be fair to all concerned, and let us try to build goodwill and better friendships. Let us ensure that the things we say and or do will be beneficial to all concerned. And my Straight Talk family, in doing and saying those things, let us strive to build a kinder, gentler St. Kitts and Nevis. With that said, at 6 minutes past the 9 o'clock hour, I go to the lines and take this, our first caller. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Good night, Mr. Liebert.
Good night, my dear.
Accountability is the essence of democracy. If people do not know what their government is doing,
people do not know what the government is doing,
they cannot be truly self-governing.
They cannot be truly self-governing.
Yes.
Okay.
I repeat, accountability is the essence of democracy. If people do not know what their government is doing, they cannot be truly self-governing. Have a great evening.
Thank you. Have yourself a great evening as well. Always welcome your quotations. Always getting pretty early to stimulate our thoughts with your quotations as well. Accountability is the essence of democracy. If people do not know what their government is doing, they cannot be truly self-governing. And that is so appropriate to things we intimated tonight, my straight dog family. And if you have just joined me, welcome. We're discussing why can't Labour do things right. My straight dog family. Go back to the lines at 9:07. Caller, you're live.
Patches.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Patches, good night.
Good night. Oh, that sounds like the Bible man.
Yeah, the Bible man was not on this last week because his phone when something went wrong with his phone.
Phone went wrong. Okay.
So I just get it back just a little while. So
I'm sure many like me miss your biblical interventions, your Psalms in particular.
Well, I did not know you were pregnant and I thought I was in my bed.
Oh, you thought you were going to music festival? Which one? You were going to the walk up?
Can I hear you?
Mm-hmm.
Psalm 34. You got it?
Psalm 34. Tell me. Give me the first verse.
I will bless the Lord all times.
Oh, yes. For?
His praise shall continue in my mouth.
Yes.
My soul shall make a boast in the Lord. Mm-hmm. The humble shall hear it and be glad. Oh, magnify the Lord with me, and let us exalt his name together. You see, here in the next verse said, a verse in there said, this poor man cried, and the Lord heard him and deliver him from all his troubles. This is just like Psalm 41. Blessed is the man that considereth the poor. In the time of trouble, the Lord shall deliver him. Patches, good night.
Good night. The Bible man, thanks for your biblical interventions as usual, and good to know that your phone is back up and running. The lines are open, my straight talk family. Yes, I told you that I was not going to that jump up night tonight. You know, I don't even know who the artists are. I'll tell you the truth. Nothing seemed to pop up to me, or no one seemed to pop up to my attention. But that's not important. What's important here tonight is to have a conversation as usual with my beloved people. And tonight we are trying to ensure that things, make certain that things are done in order, properly. And we need to, beg your pardon, ensure, like I said, that we do things right. But things just don't go right under this administration. As I said to you, imagine a prime minister announcing the start of a major project via his Facebook post. Could you imagine that, my straight dog family? A prime minister congratulating his colleague. A major project, having already wasted some $21 million after a site was approved, and all the experts said nothing was wrong with the site. They've gone back to the old site. Going back to the old site, my straight dog family, we have not seen an EIA. We have seen nothing. Nothing to convince us, my straight dog family, that everything is under control.
For the past 2 years, extensive work would have been going on involving our local architects and other engineers and experts, and it is even more heartwarming to know that the contractor is a Kittishon, and this of course will generate quite a lot of revenue and also boost the economy, as many persons will be employed here at the Bastia High School, which is expected to be an 18-month initiative.
Imagine my street dog family, a no-name contractor. Imagine we know not the cost of the project. All this is done in the back room. Why we don't put things right? No consultation whatsoever with the people, my street dog family. A pleasant good evening to you, Patches. Reads this email. I'm a retired police officer of 37 years who spent 90% of my service in the traffic department. I've noticed that about 6 days ago, the licensing authority of the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force, in a press release, informed all and sundry that the lighting period for motor vehicles driving on the roads are from 7 p.m. nightly to 5 a.m. the next succeeding day. At first glance, I thought that it was a typing error made by the police press officer, because never before in the history of the police force that drivers were told that the lighting period ends at 5 a.m. In fact, the lighting period should have been from 6:45 p.m. to 5:30 a.m. the next succeeding day. Doesn't the High Command seek the usual advice from the officers on the ground and the various outstations anymore as to the lighting period for vehicles as done in the time past? This 5 a.m. shutting off period have the potential to cause accidents and serious injuries to all road users. If drivers turned off their lights at the 5 a.m. time directed by the police, Patches, even a blind person can clearly see that at 5 a.m. at mornings, the place is still very dark, with all street lights still lit on, and every vehicle on the road have to keep on their lights voluntarily until 5:30 a.m., contrary to the police directive. Kudos to our responsible drivers for saving lives. Patches, can you imagine that if the eastern side of the island in Bastia is still dark at 5 a.m., then it is even more darker for the drivers on the western side of the island? I call upon the licensing authority and the police high command to remedy their colossal mistake and adjust the lighting period from 6:45 p.m. to 5:30 a.m. the next succeeding day. Thank you, Patches, reads this email. And this other email reads, good night, Patches. Last night, the snake Mark Brantley went on a rant against Dr. Timothy Harris and Sean Richards as if he was losing his mind and trying to justify his dismal failure as leader of the opposition, and at the same time being in coalition with July Labour Party. All he succeeded in doing is to show Dr. Harris as a brilliant, trustworthy, and astute politician. The snake, like a crazy man, spoke about Simmons's coalition with NRP to remove Labour in 1980. He also spoke about Dougie's collision with NRP by making Patrice Nisbet Attorney General, then Minister of Foreign Affairs, because he said Dougie couldn't trust Harris and Condor. He lamented about Team Unity coalition with PAM, CCM and PLP, and even confessed that it was indeed him who fooled Sean and undermined Team Unity from day one, which fractured Team Unity. He, however, failed to mention the present coalition of his CCM and Labour Party, because July cannot trust Dougie, Jeffrey and Conris. He lamented the fact that historically, the politicians in St. Kitts have a history of seeing Nevis politicians as a mere convenience and not prime ministership material. Lest we forget that in 1993, both Labour and PAM offered Vance Amory of CCM Prime Minister, but he refused and opted to stay neutral. Nevis people hated Labour after the Christina disaster. Labour then strategized and formed the CCM and successfully removed Sim Daniel of NRP, who was a secessionist to the bone. Sim Daniel then strategized and inserted Mark, who is a die-hard secessionist, into CCM and removed Vance. Right now, Labour, PAM, CCM and NRP are all hated in Nevis. So my suggestion to Dr. Harris is to put a slate of candidates to contest the Nevis seats due to the love Nevis people have for Dr. Harris, and a sure win will be realized. Reads this email. Very interesting content in that email there, my Straight Talk family. And it's 9:18, my Straight Talk family. And for those who may have just joined me, we are discussing tonight our thesis, which I've titled, as I said, Why Can't Labour Do Things Right? And we asked the question, and in particular, there are some issues that have to be addressed. Very many issues. But I wanted to focus again on this Bastia High School issue, which they're trying to shove down our throat. And my Straight Dog family, we in St. Kitts have to be wary of that. But let's go back to the lines and say good night to this caller. Caller, you live. Hello, caller.
Machi.
Yes, caller.
Machi, this is the major.
The major. How is the major tonight? How is the major?
Very good. I'm good, man. Very good. Machi, just something I want to ask you, not to be provocative, right? But listen to this. Do you listen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I always listen to you.
Do you feel drained?
Drained? Exhausted?
Do you feel drained? Exhausted?
Well,
listen?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Yeah. So if that is so, let's ask God for help. That He can give the power to the weak and to those who have no might to increase. And He, once they don't have enough might, He will increase the strength. Because if you realize, Prime Minister Winston Churchill, I always speak about him, because he is an old soldier and I like him very much. But I always speak about him, and he said that attitude is a little thing that makes a big difference. Understand that?
Make a big what?
You heard me?
Attitude makes a big what? Mm-hmm.
Attitude is a little thing that makes a big difference.
Okay, big difference.
Okay. His attitude, you make it a little thing, but when it comes to it makes a big difference after things happening. What do you think about that? I just thought I should share that, it was carried. That was in my mind since last week. But I said, well, let me touch that here, you know, to hear what you was about.
About your attitude?
What do you think?
About the attitude?
Yes, attitude. Yeah.
Well, so we always learn that attitude determines altitude. So that's straightforward.
Attitude what?
Determines altitude.
Yes.
Your
And
attitude
because of that, it makes a difference.
And because of what?
Because of that, it makes a big difference.
Of course, yes, it does, you know, but you know. But once you started speaking about being drained, you know, and exhausted, you know, but but it's a state of depletion. It can suggest, you know.
Yeah. It gets exhausted.
Yes, you know.
Exhausted.
And be emotional or mental.
Yes.
Mental fatigue, they say. But take a rest, relax yourself, soldier. And as a major now, you go to the barracks. You have your own barracks. But in terms of in terms of what we discussed, though, right? You know, we were discussing in particular the way things are done. Things are not being done right, and you ask yourselves why. You know, I mean, people want to make wrong right and right wrong. You know, and we highlighted the Basti High School, for example, going back onto that old site. And there's no consultation. People not being said anything. They don't tell you what's the cost. They don't tell you about the EIA. All they have some Indian man, and no disrespect to the Indian, but you know, this Vivek looks like an Indian. But that's an Indian name as well, or Pakistani, some one of them. And he tells you that they're taking 3 feet of soil, you know, taking up all these soils, and you have to chuck all these soils someplace. And truckage is a cost. But they haven't told us what is the cost for the construction of this site. What does the EIA say? The EIA must determine how that school is constructed. I mean, aren't these important things for us anymore?
No, I don't understand. And that is why I said, that's why I agree with you, because what I'm saying is we are living in a time where some people are proud. They're proud of what they're doing. They're not ashamed of it, right? They're proud of what they're doing, so they're not ashamed of it. And that is the time we are living in right now.
Well, yes. Unfortunately.
Huh?
Unfortunately.
Yeah. I don't understand. We live in a time where some people are proud of what they're doing, and they're not ashamed of it. But therefore, what are we going to do? What are we going to do?
Stand up. Stand up. We have to stand up.
Of course.
We have to stand up.
Yeah.
But Major, nice to hear as usual. Trust you'll have a good night's rest tonight.
Well, I thought you were going to music festival. You're a musician.
You know, there's a time and place for everything. You know. As I said, a time to weep, a time to mourn.
Okay, that's what Solomon said.
Yes, okay, my brother. Always good. Always good to hear, Major. Fall out.
Okay.
Thanks a lot. We go back to the lines and thank this caller for holding. Caller, you are live. Hello, caller.
Yes. Good night, Brother Patches.
Good night, sir.
My name, as you know, is Winston Welcome.
Okay.
And I am making it be known that I am officially an opposition to all the existing political parties in St. Kitts. When something is not going right, I will oppose it. And right now, the Labour administration is in. So my opposition will be directed to them. I'm not going to oppose the other parties that was there because they are not in power. Now, moving with the project, the Bastia High School project, that document that you just showed, which I think is Jeffrey, speaking about
a video, okay.
The clearing and grubbing. Yes. Now, I think I heard him said something about for the past 2 years.
Yes.
Is it since the past 2 years the project was underway? And
that's what he seemed to be. That's what he seemed to be suggesting. Yes.
Okay. Well, and they have to go down at least 3 feet down.
That's what he said.
Well, question: was there any procurement pertaining to that project to say the phases moving forward, the cost, the quantity surveying? And if that is 2 years ago, since that was in the plan, and they are not even anywhere yet, are they going to start another project again and leave it behind, undone? I mean, going back to the Prime Minister, what kind of nonsense? Is St. Kitts people, do you think St. Kitts people are fool or are they being taken for a fool? That's a question I'm going to ask you. You're down there, you know how the people behave. Because I could imagine accepting a picture in our minds that things are in progress. The Bastia High School is not in progress as yet. So what are they trying? They're trying to get the overseas supporters believe that they are doing something and they are not. We here in the overseas are not fools. And stop taking us for granted, because you all need our votes and you all ain't gonna get none. I control the diaspora. Winston Welcome control the diaspora. You all ain't gonna get no overseas vote. Okay? And I am caution you all, Labor administration, to done with your Trump word. Trump word that he used with Israel and Iran. Trump word. I'm not going to disrespect your show. Stop it. It's not right. Okay? Get something done. Patches, is there anything the Labor administration said that is on its way, should be on its way? Is there anything done yet? It seems like I have to get Donald Trump to get one of those stealth bombers to blow things out the ear so that they could come down from wherever they are, because they are stuck. We need a Tomahawk missile or something to bring them in so that something could be. Because they're underway. Why? What is the hold up? Now the Prime Minister gone to Nigeria. Why he going to bring home a bag of tricks? We don't need no bag of tricks. We need action. We need manifestation. And if you all can't get, and you all haven't done the job, Winston will do it along with the independent and anyone who are associated to get the due diligence of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. We all will collaborate and get the job done once and for all. Thank you for hearing me, people. Bye for now. May God bless the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Bye for now.
Bye, my brother. Thanks for your interventions, as usual. And it's very unfortunate that this happens, especially in this our 21st century. And we see what we call this willful blindness. And my Straight Dog family, there are so many things wrong with what they're doing about the Bastia High School, that old site. And as I said, no consultation. The cabinet secretary, Marcus Natter, he was at the consultation at the Newtown Primary School, the Tucker Clark Primary School. And he said this. I remember he said this.
Unfortunately, tonight has been quite long for our town hall. So I'm also hoping, and Minister of Education is here and happy to see him, that we have a second round of this, because clearly we will not cover everything this evening. We started 45 minutes late, and then we had 2 hours of presentations from the panelists, and I think that is grossly unfair to persons who have pertinent questions. But I would love to have another session.
Grossly unfair to persons who had questions. But he's in cabinet now. And they haven't had one consultation. Let's go back to the lines and say, caller, I thank you for holding your line. Hello, caller.
Greetings, Mr. Patches. How are you?
Greetings, my brother. I'm peaceful. Yourself?
I'm very good myself. And it's good you point out that last point concerning the gentleman. Because consistency is the word, Mr. Patches. Consistency. That's how we improve policies. The world is always well supplied with people who wish to rule and dominate others. The true leader is of a different sort. He seeks effective activity which has a truly beneficent purpose. He inspires to follow in his wake, and holding aloft the torch of wisdom leads the way for society to realize its genuinely great aspiration. Mr. Patches, we as a young nation, we have to remember our past. And to do that, that can guide us to our future. And we must remember the history of our country. When we're talking about the history of our country, in party politics, is about the history of the country.
Sure.
And we cannot govern a country, as to say, is only from the past 7 years. We got to look at the history of our country, because that government take over a country, a government that was there before it, and was the deputy prime minister then for that government, said that prime minister was taking the country down the dark road. So obviously the unity administration had a battle to contend with, because taking on a country that's going down the dark road. Remember, we were under the IMF, all those kind of ways. And if your country under the IMF, you got to govern your country by the IMF policies. So here is the government coming in after and put its mandate down, clear the debt, to put your policy in place. So all the unity administration was doing was governing the country from its own local policies. And they were running positive. We cannot say they didn't run in positive. So, consultation is a way to liberation. That's how you cannot be striving with politics and not looking about liberation for your people. We won't be doing ourselves no good. No matter what system you try to put in place, you've got to be transparent with your people. Because I, as a citizen, Mr. Patches, I would have liked to see the World Bank reports. It ain't written in English, it ain't written in Spanish. And I, as a Prime Minister, I will have published it to my people, because I am aware my people are educated and they got understanding. And I sure some of them ideas in the report was aligned with what the unity administration might have been renting out. I got them feeling like that. But some of us have this Semitic syndrome, development in our minds. It's like when you go in school, you got six years friend, Tom and Jim follow, you want everybody to follow to Jim. This is what driving our politics. This kind of character assassination politics. That is a divide and rule policy that rending down on our people. We got to think more godly. Mr. Patches, they continue to be strong. God bless. Stay healthy.
Thank you, my brother. Always good to hear you as well. And it's all about politics. It's nothing about politics. Because professionals or looked at this. It wasn't the cabinet. A set of experts were selected and recommended a site to the cabinet, which we approve. But politics have overridden everything here. I mean, imagine in 2025, as someone just reminded me, that we have issues with parking. See what they did with Warner Park? Look what they're doing now with the Basti High School. Imagine with that school constructed there, God forbid though, the nightmare we'll have in terms of parking. There's so many places, and at the Basti Valley Aquifer area, the western portion of the Basti Valley Aquifer, where there are no productive wells. And a committee, like I said, of highly respected professionals analyzed, I think it was 4 or 5 locations, and pick the pond's site. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, thank you for holding your live. Hello, caller.
Greetings, brother. Yeah, greetings, brother Patches.
Greetings, my brother.
Pleasant good night.
Kulunji.
Yes. You know, good leadership is in the Sahel states. With Brother Abraham Traore in Burkina Faso and Brother Tiani in Niger and Brother Gaito in Mali. Now, tomorrow, the African Consciousness Movement and the Movement for National Unity will be holding the second rally in solidarity with the leaders of the Sahel states and Brother Abraham Traore in particular. So we want people to come out, right? We changed Pretoria Square now to Cecil Moonlight Robert Square and the African Village, because the Pretoria Square was named after they had a Boer war in South Africa and the British won the war, and they named the square after winning victory over the Boers in South Africa. So we changed the name. So the African Village is now Cecil Moonlight Robert Square, because you know that's where he was located here in the circus for many years. So we want all people to come out tomorrow, you know, this being music festival weekend, and show solidarity with the leaders in the Sahel states. Because that's where true leadership lies, and that's the blueprint to move forward. You're talking about consultation. You understand? All these things is just a farce. They just put them out there and nothing gonna happen. Because we have a colonial construct. So, as we're saying, true African liberation lies in the Sahel states. We're laying the foundation for true African liberation, and we're saying, follow the leader. Well, Granny said, follow the leader. Abraham Traore is the leader. So, one and all here in the Federation, those who come in from overseas, come out to the African village tomorrow, right here in the circus in Bastille. You understand? So we could show solidarity with real true leadership. So give thanks, Brother Patches. And remember, the United States created bin Laden, who was a terrorist. They say he was the #1 terrorist in the world after Nelson Mandela, right? So they created Al-Qaeda. They created all these terrorist groups, and they got them in the Sahel states too after they killed Muammar Gaddafi. So it spread through the Sahel region, you know? And what they realize now, that since the war between Israel and Iran, United States declared ceasefire because what? Iran was really mashing up Israel. So
I've been trying to follow you, Ras Kulunji, right?
Yeah.
You mentioned consultation and you made a comment about it. But we were discussing why can't Labour do things right. Why we can't
they can't do things right because it's based on a colonial construct.
But how are we going to change it? Traore can't help us to change that.
No, but what happening in the Sahel states, we want it here. That's what we're saying.
But no, we have to change our own environment ourselves.
I agree. Through education, that's why I say we have to repent. I agree with you.
Okay, my
I'm agree with you.
Okay, my brother.
But it needs to be done for education.
Okay, my brother. Okay.
Okay. Blessed love.
Thanks a lot for your intervention and always steeped in African history. I always reminds us about that. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Good evening, Mr. Liburn. How are you?
I am peaceful, my dear. Yourself?
You know who's speaking to you, right?
That's Kali Kwan's aunt.
Yes, I love you. You don't catch my voice.
Yes, I caught you.
I love you. May God bless you and strengthen you, guide you, and protect you each how you walk, wherever you walk and go. May He protect you. I'm glad you bring up the show. You remember when Labour win? I don't know if you could remember. And I'm sure you have a memory, and you know, when Labour win and you go to Veterans Aid, that night they stop you and tell you you have no longer coming there. I want to know something, Mr. Lloyd. Veterans Aid radio station is belongs to the politician, them?
To the people.
Huh?
To the people.
The people. Okay, yes. That's right. That's right. What happened to the doctors and the nurses and the teachers and the policemen them? They get 30% from the money that they get. Man, woman, and child could get a good piece of money from that. And they say, let's say they're going to raise up the salary 30%. What happened to the doctors and the nurses? Them, they don't want nothing on the money neither. They ain't want nothing on the money. They fool and they boil the young people and that election gone there. And see where everybody facing, as old people that say, if good come for everybody. And if bad come, it's going to come for everybody. They boil the young people them and see what's taking place now. I think it's going down the GN. Think it is not in the right direction right now. Nobody know what's going on. Nobody know. But I know tonight, Mr. Lloyd, but he must get a Judas inside. They're going to bring out the news and everything one day. All people that say you don't see fall bottom until wind blow. One day, the Judas going to bring out all what's going on inside there. Because Dr. July, he is not fit to be a prime minister, that's number one. He's fit to be a doctor and stay as a doctor. He don't have the experience, he don't have the knowledge, he don't have the brains, he don't have the wisdom to run no country. And plus those dancing advisors where he got leading him wrong and putting on blinders on the eye. If they tell him do this, he do this. What happened to Basia Hospital when he going to talk about he going to build a smart hospital? Basia Hospital could build up, rectify, getting good equipment, so you won't have to go overseas. When they sick, they jump on a plane and they go to England, you know, and they ain't coming back alive. Okay. That's to show them that the Bible said do good, and good will follow you. Dr. July do not care nothing about sinking snake them who put him in there. He tell us if we win, to hell with them. Me done inside here. All of them have dipped the hand in the cookie jar. When you look on the money going there who won the country, we're going right back in the oil pan. Me tell you tonight, Mr. Loybod, we heading there. This destruction coming and think it. You scared to could see anybody on the road when Timothy Harris was in. You could have seen people on the road enjoying themselves, enjoying life for them, but not now. Everything just gone dead. Everything just out of order, can't start feel. Life is not getting better underneath Labour. The 250 with the job that they said again people, I think they said this month he's gonna done with. I don't know if he's gonna done with because me are a pensioner and they said the pensioner no get none. Okay. But the pensioner them when election come, the pensioner them no gonna go to them neither.
Okay, got you. Got you, my dear lady. Always good to hear you. Thanks.
Gonna vote for them.
Thank you very much.
Even those people who they one side, long term and the sick, they still got to drag them out and I carry them out. When you look next day, the people them dead. Labour need to come out there and have any love and a feeling for the body. They have feeling for themselves and their friends and the family.
Okay, got you loud and clear.
They need to come out.
Okay, got you loud and clear.
We cannot wait until the election come, no 2027. Get them out now.
Okay, my dear. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for your intervention. Always so passionate, and you are so correct. And as my quotation said tonight, accountability is the essence of democracy. If people do not know what their government is doing, they cannot be truly self-governing. That's the quotation I got. And governments must always be accountable, because unchecked power becomes dangerous. And the true strength of a government lies not in its ability to command, but in its willingness to listen, to adapt, and to lead with integrity. Let's go back to the lines. Thank this caller for holding the caller. You're live. Hello, caller.
Yeah, Patches, how are you doing tonight, man? Good evening, man.
I am peaceful. Yourself?
Yeah, pretty good, pretty good. Yeah, special good night to Kali Kwan's auntie for being consistent, you know, to bring her grievances to the airwaves. Really want to commend her. And she did touch a few points there, you know. I hope everyone listened carefully. Yeah, undoubtedly, the team unity imploded, you know, because of some person's egos, it seems like, and the famous fair share for Nevis was a big, big issue on the table. And then a request was made by the Premier and the Prime Minister collectively to get a World Bank report done. And Patches, I'm echoing again tonight. That report came into the Federation some few months back. And, you know, I'm wondering where that report is. I mean, is it behind your shed or is it underneath somebody's bed somewhere? You know, that report needs to be made public. Another caller indicated that earlier. Totally agree. That report needs to be made public, and it needs to be in the hands of every party leader. I can't see how these guys are getting away with some of these things in the Federation. The people got to wake up and pay attention. They got to wake up. Man, we can get down there and pick up St. Kitts and Nevis and move them 2 islands up to the North Pole. Some persons wouldn't even know the islands are moving. But Patches, man, there's so much to talk about, so much things to highlight. And we've got to notice, they said that 2 things that I want to point out. Let me get to the specifics. That big black women BBW boost wallet, that $250, I think, is expiring this month. And also that reduced VAT is expiring this month. And least not forget, there was a second installment of the minimum wage increase. And if I could remember, it was scheduled to come June 25th. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. And Patches, I'm just going to leave it there. Thanks a lot, man. You have a good night.
Thanks a lot as well. We go straight back to the lines. Caller, thank you for holding your live.
Mr. Levin, I don't think they get no report. Birds of a feather flock together. I don't think they get no report. Have a great evening.
You think both are telling lies? Okay. Okay. Well, both say they got the report, but it's under wraps. Strange but true. My Straight Dog family. But good evening reads this email. We all know what's going on with these experts. If they try to do things the right way, it's going to be another 20 years and nothing will be accomplished. And they may not be able to handpick as much as they want to. They like to talk about the 7 years of the team unity government. But that 7 years was like a breath of fresh air. Since this Labour administration, millions wasted left, right, and centre, useless trips abroad, trying to get people who have no use for us to come here and continue taking advantage of the country and its people. Poorly conceived, questionably executed projects, plastic water tanks purchased for ridiculous amounts of money and still have water issues. And this is only 3 years. Can you imagine how much more will be wasted in the following years? Reads this email. Good evening, Ambassador. Reads this email. Blessings. Why is Dr. Drew always fixated on Dr. Harris? Government is continuous. Get on with the work which you were elected to do. When the dust settles, you'll go down as the worst Prime Minister St. Kitts and Nevis ever had. People, Mrs. Drew is no First Lady. That title goes to the wives of presidents, reads this email. Good night, Patches. The traveling PM gone to Africa. The so-called minister just returned from Germany. What is happening, Patches? When these fellas are out of government, they'll be rotten rich, my straight dog family. Yes, the Prime Minister slipped away to Nigeria and did not say to the country where he was going. He said he flew 8 hours to spend 36 hours in Nigeria. He said this.
As I took the flight from home to travel here, I looked out the window. The skies were beautiful. The Atlantic seemed clear. I reflected on my ancestors who came across in ships, but I also reflected on the fact that there were hardly any other aircraft in sight.
Ladies and gentlemen, in welcoming His Excellency the Honorable Dr. Terence Drew, Prime Minister for the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. A warm welcome, please, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
As I took the flight from home to travel here, I looked out the window. The skies were beautiful. The Atlantic seemed clear. But I especially want to recognize my brother, President, Chairman, President Orama. Put your hands together for him. He had gotten me here today to fly 8 hours just to spend 36 hours. So it tells you the deep respect that I have for this gentleman.
Deep respect, he says. 8 hours flying to spend 36 hours and back home. Didn't tell us anything. But my Straight Talk family, as we wind down tonight's programming, I want to thank you immensely, my Straight Dog family, for the indulging tonight. Because we can choose the harder, braver path. Reform, transparency, and national renewal. But we need to establish independent oversight, real-time international vetting, and a commitment to full transparency. That's what's needed. My Straight Talk family, I'm going to guide you by the rules of brevity because I'm winding down. Call it, you live. Hello, call.
Yes, thank you. Yes, thank you again, Patches. Mm-hmm. Let me tell you a little short interaction I had today and day before. I do some business with some people from Nigeria. And you know what they told me? Because our Prime Minister gone there. They were glad to get out of Nigeria because their president is a dumbass. Rob, thief, and criminal activity. Okay? And that's where our Prime Minister gone. He been there once, he come home with lies. Or he came home with silence. He gone there again for what? Is he being coached by the Nigerian president to bring back their bag of tricks? Dr. Drew, we don't need no damn fairy tale stories. We don't need to know about your plane ride because you always do that. That is your pattern. Okay? Bring home substance from Nigeria. Go over to Burkina Faso. Go over to Mali or Niger. And done with your damn nonsense. Cut the bull now, man. I'm tired of hearing you with your saganaka bull. Okay? The people in St. Kitts need to rise to get out of this bondage and this communist ideology that you're imposing on the people. Okay? But you know something? The people in St. Kitts is at fault too, you know. Because they see what's going on and they are not taking the backside out on the street to have a peaceful protest. Show the masses, show the numbers, and send a message to these people. All they are doing is promises and their talk is not even sweet. It is criminal.
Okay.
Stop fooling the people and done with your damn nonsense. And get on with the work that the people so due for. Thank you for hearing me. Once again, I will endorse this. This is Winston Welcome speaking, and I'm not going to change it. Bye for now again.
Thank you very much, Mr. Welcome. As we wind down tonight's programming, my Straight Talk family, I made mention that I was taken by surprise, and many were, when Terence Michael July, our worst Prime Minister, posted this on Facebook. Gave kudos to his deputy. And we thought it was just another stunt. But we wasted our thoughts. Our thoughts were in vain. We thought it was site being cleared for the music festival. Until we heard this news item on ZZ Television.
Minister of Education, the Honorable Dr. Jeffrey Hanley, visited the construction site of the new Bastia High School on Friday, June 13th, where large-scale excavation work is now on the way. He was accompanied by project manager Vivek Khan of Imagine Developments and key technical personnel who provided updates on the scope, scale, and status of the project. Dr. Hanley explained that the new state-of-the-art school will feature an expansive outdoor sports complex with provisions for basketball, netball, and football, in addition to the 400-meter track. The facility will also include enhanced academic features, such as a driving simulation lab, more than double the classrooms initially proposed by the previous administration, and a modern auditorium that seats 1,200 people.
And this is just a political decision. And after 93 years in office, it must be reasonable to conclude, therefore, that Terence Michael July and his self-proclaimed team of experts do not understand the power of government. Government power is something that affects every single one of us. It is a force that can build nations, protect freedoms, and improve lives. But like any great power, it must be used with wisdom, responsibility, and a deep respect for the people it serves. And the constant failure to consult with the people is troubling. Because Jew came as a snake oil salesman, told the people what they wanted to hear. He told us about subsidizing the potential cost of living. And what's happening? He comes now, he says this.
And I couldn't fit on a bus or put it in my car trunk. Now when I go with $100, the child can carry how much things I can buy.
We can't even buy mackerel. Poor people food. That was our poor people food. Mackerel and dumpling, remember? And breadfruit. Most of us had a breadfruit tree in our yard. Look at mackerel today. $21.50 per pound. Which poor man can buy mackerel? 2 pieces of mackerel. When you boil that, it's about 1. People can't afford shelter under labor. They have to be bankable. The promise of 2,400 houses have gone in the wind. It is reliably rumored that the wind has blown millions of dollars into the bank account of the Trinidadian cowboy contractor, my Straight Dog family. And my Straight Dog family, what's happening now? No consultation. My Straight Dog family, they've appointed a high commissioner to India, and nothing. No consultation whatsoever with the people. Appointed a man who is before the court, before the UK court, my Straight Dog family. Did he buy influence? Did he buy his appointment, my Straight Dog family? The bat is before a UK court. How did they Marcelo sign that instrument of appointment? These are the issues. But we will come back to that Dev-Bat issue because it's a burning issue. But it's the Bastia High School I'm going to leave you with, my Straight Dog family. A more troubling issue at this time. Troubling.
For the past 2 years, extensive work would have been going on involving our local architects and other engineers and experts, and it is even more heartwarming to know that the contractor is a Kittitian, and this of course will generate quite a lot of revenue and also boost the economy, as many persons will be employed here at the Bastia High School, which is expected to be an 18-month initiative.
The contractor is a Kittitian, a no-name contractor, my Straight Dog family. After 2 years, we had consultations, and even the very cabinet secretary attended the consultation.
Unfortunately, tonight has been quite long for our town hall, so I'm also hoping, and Minister of Education is here and happy to see him, that we have a second round of this, because clearly we will not cover everything this evening. We started 45 minutes late, and then we had 2 hours of presentations from the panelists, and I think that is grossly unfair to persons who have pertinent questions. But I would love to have another session.
But you didn't have one session. Your cabinet, of which you are the secretary, Marcus Natter, didn't have one session for the people. Why can't Labour do things the right way? The citizens deserve a say. Parents, students, and teachers ought to be consulted. Under the Team Unity Administration, there was always consultation. But my Straight Talk family, Terence Michael Drew will continue to lie to the country. And on my last episode, someone submitted what they labeled a constructive proposal and proposed the following: that an immediate national survey to gather public opinion on whether the current site is suitable or if an alternative location should be pursued. A temporary hold on construction is proposed until the results of the survey and further environmental testing can be reviewed transparently. It's proposed that a public meeting or forum for experts, educators, and families be held to speak directly to the nation. It is proposed the repurposing of the current site as a smart paid public parking space to ease the downtown congestion and generate revenue. And I totally agree, my Straight Talk family. I mean, totally, in total concurrence with the individual who made the submission to Straight Talk. Because this is not just about buildings. This is about trust. It's about engaging the people in the future of their country. History will not remember how loudly you spoke or how fiercely you campaigned. History will remember what you did when the spotlight dimmed, when tough choices had to be made, when doing things the right way meant risking the next election. So let us rise to the moment, my people. Let us lead not with ego, but with honor. Because in the end, the measure of our term in office will not be how long we held power, but how responsibly we used it. For now, my people, and until and unless there is change, I will continue to ask, why can't Labour do things the right way? That's my story tonight, my Straight Talk family, and I am not going to change it. I want to thank Almighty God for guiding our conversation tonight, as always. I want to thank you who just viewed, who listened, some of you who called, and those who sent emails. Remember, you are the ones who make Straight Talk, and for that reason, I say a big, big thank you. And until we connect on Monday for another edition of Straight Talk, be good to yourselves and to all whom you meet. And remember, whatever your mind conceive, that you will achieve. But first of all, you must believe. So when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light. Thank Him for taking you through the night. And my Straight Talk family, keep moving on. Bye-bye. Until we connect on Monday, have yourselves a wonderful weekend.
The morning, I thank God for the morning light. Give Him thanks and praises for taking me safely through the night. For the rest of food and loving care, and for